This is the UK. In the south there is an island called the Isle of Wight. It is separated from the mainland by a strait called the Solent. All around the island there are sunken secrets that interest maritime archaeologists. Here are some maritime archaeologists now. Hello. Hello. The archaeologists have worked their way around the west side of the island to find as many of these fascinating shipwrecks and underwater objects as possible. Here are just some of the sites around West Wight. First, let's look at Boldner Cliff. Here it is on the map. A long time ago, the Isle of Wight was connected to the mainland. 8,000 years ago, Stone Age people lived here. Theirs was a simple life, woodworking, gathering and eating nuts and berries, and knapping flint to make tools. When sea levels rose and created what is now the Solent, the people had to move. In 1998, a diver watched a lobster pushing a flint tool from its burrow. This was an important find for archaeologists, as it told them about the people who lived here in the past and what life was like in the Stone Age. Now let's visit the wreck site at Yarmouth Roads. The Yarmouth Roads wreck was found by an archaeologist in 1984. Excavation took place on this protected wreck site between 1984 to 1989. It is 30 metres long and thought to be the Santa Lucia, a Spanish merchant vessel trading wool. She sank in a violent storm in 1567. To the far west of the island lies another protected wreck site, the HMS Pomone. She was a Royal Navy frigate with 38 guns. In October 1811, she was coming back from the Mediterranean after taking part in the Napoleonic War. On board was the British ambassador to Persia and several Arab stallions, a gift from the Shah of Persia to King George III. In the mist, the captain thought the light from the Needles was Hurst Castle and crashed into the rocks. The crew were saved that night and the horses were rescued the next day. All these wrecks have a story to tell. Let's visit a very different site. This wreck is more recent. It was a landing craft that sank in 1944 on its way to Normandy. It capsized and lost its cargo of tanks and bulldozers. There are many other interesting sites around West Wight. What do you think the archaeologists will find this week? Here they are loading up their equipment for another archaeological expedition.
Okay, let's load up.
They need air tanks so they can breathe underwater and tools for surveying and measuring their finds. They are setting off to see if they can find any more interesting objects in the Solent. They are using a side scan sonar. This is dragged behind the boat and is called a fish. The fish sends signals to the sea floor, which creates a picture on the computer screen in the boat above, showing detailed features of the seabed. Today, after lots of searching, they are lucky and find what they think could be a wreck. They'll return another day and go diving on this site to discover more. Before going diving, they will have to do some research, looking at books, papers and databases. Interesting. Archaeologists can find out more information by talking to local people. Fishermen, divers and residents all have stories to tell.
So Bert, tell us, are there any shipwrecks in the area?
Oh, I could tell you a few stories about shipwrecks around here, boy. Here's the site of our archaeologists' mystery wreck. To start understanding the wreck and get closer to naming it, lots of information must be collected. When diving on this wreck site, archaeologists discover boilers and a gun. They measure the boat and find it is 85 meters long. The boat has 2 masts and an engine. When these clues are compared with other information, we can learn the identity of the ship and the story behind it. Have you got any ideas about where this ship came from? The archaeologists have discovered that their wreck is that of a ship called the Londonere. The Londonere was a steel ship built in England but owned by a Belgian company. On the 12th of March 1918, it left Calais to go to the Bristol Channel with no cargo and 25 people on board. It was also carrying a 12-pounder gun which was used in World War I. Just after passing St Catherine's Point on the Isle of Wight, it was sighted by a German submarine. The submarine fired 2 torpedoes that hit the Londonere. The crew abandoned ship and the Londonere floated with the stern up for a while and then sank to the sea floor. The ship was not fitted with a radio, so no SOS could be sent out. Only 13 men survived. The archaeologists are tired after a busy and productive week. Being an archaeologist is not as easy as you might think.